down.
Hi, Morgan Perry here from Square One Small Business Services by Mid-Continent Public Library. We are part of a brand new series right now, and it is with the Green Valley Partnership, and we are bringing business education to the outlying communities in the Kansas City metro area. So, as you probably know, if you're watching this out of my account, Mid-Continent Public Library covers 2.5 counties, so that means Platte County, Clay County, and the eastern half, Jackson County. That's a lot of square footage, people. That's just a huge area to try to cover. So what we really feel like our duty to our base of people is to take these great opportunities that Kansas City has to help how to start a business, to help entrepreneurs, and then spread that into the outlying communities. So it doesn't matter if you're Green Valley, it doesn't matter if you're in Lone Jack, it doesn't matter if you're in Weston. You're still a part of the Kansas City Metro, and you still deserve the help that is available to small businesses. So we'd like to thank Green Valley for having us out. We do these the last Tuesday of the month, and I'd like to introduce our speaker. Burton Kelso is our go-to guy. And in fact, he's not just our go-to guy, he's Kansas City's go-to tech guy. You have seen him, and as soon as he gets up here, you'll recognize him. He's been on most of the news stations in Kansas City. He is always there when someone needs to talk about net security. He is always there when someone says, oh my God, my computer shut down and I don't know why. This is the guy you want helping you when you are in a crisis situation. So I'm going to let him cover his background with you. The thing that you need to remember is this is someone you can trust. This is someone you can help that will help you set up security measures for your small business. That's your livelihood, and we want to make sure it's well protected. Burton Kelso.
Good afternoon. For those who don't know me, my name is Burton Kelso. I own Integral. We're a tech support company, and we've serviced the metro area and surrounding counties for the past 25 years. We help homes and businesses with on-site and remote tech support. So if people are having problems with cybersecurity or Windows or Macintosh computers or anything that deals with technology, we're the go-to company. We help people with technology and make sure that they stay safe and secure and that they're able to use their technology. So tonight I'm talking about, is your business cyber secure? And there's 7 steps that you need to take to make sure that hackers aren't getting a hold of your information. We've all seen data hacks out in the world today. I mean, there's all sort of things that are going on with businesses. The challenge is that with most small businesses, they don't take the precautions that they need to with their business technology. Most larger companies, and obviously they become victims of data hacking, have the luxury of having an IT department that's monitoring the ingoing and outgoing traffic of larger business networks. But small businesses pretty much run on a shoestring budget, so they may not be up with the latest technology that's going on. They may not understand what some of the data hacks or data breaches that are going on, because most small business and solo business owners are concentrated in what's going on in their small business. So they don't have the time to read the news or to find out what type of data breaches may be going on, and it puts them at great risk. Let's see if this mouse works. Am I too far away? I have to use the roller. There we go. It's going to be. So yeah, your business is at risk, and cyber criminals know this. Cyber criminals realize that smaller businesses just don't have the resources in order to keep up with cybercrime. So many small businesses and solo businesses are targeted with data hacks. So you'll see things such as ransomware. A lot of businesses fall victims of ransomware, and ransomware are viruses that will infect your small business network. Probably the most dangerous form of virus out there, because what will happen with ransomware, it'll get on one computer of your network and it'll go through and infect all of the computers on your network. And ransomware is so deadly that it will even go up to the cloud. If you're using a cloud backup system or using a cloud storage system such as iCloud or Dropbox, Google Drive, or even OneDrive, it'll infect the files there too. So it's pretty deadly, and it's a virus that will pretty much put small businesses out of business if it attacks and damages their files. Of course, you also have the phishing schemes that are going around on the internet. You've got a lot of bogus emails that are coming around saying that they're from like your cellular company or from your billing company wanting to get your information. And many small businesses, once they see a logo and email and they're going about their day-to-day, they may accidentally click on a link, which will bring up a bogus site, and then businesses voluntarily give out their information. The other threat small businesses have to deal with is phone scam or cellular scams that are going on. A lot of cell phone accounts have been compromised because, number one, businesses use their cellular number as their main business number. If that information is out on the internet, people can do a reverse lookup of your cell number to find out what provider you're with. Once they find out what provider you're with, they can call you imitating your provider and get pertinent information that can allow hackers to either create a bogus phone account to either purchase equipment, which is then sold, or they can open up additional lines on your business account, allowing them to have free service and you having to flip the bill as far as whatever activity goes on with the cell account. Of course, you have the phone scams that go on too with many businesses, where you get the IRS scam, where people are saying you owe the IRS, and you freak out because you think there's a SWAT team waiting down the street that's going to bust through the doors. And there's various other phone scams that have people wanting to get your information. I think the biggest one right now is, I know Google is calling a lot of businesses now, and you have to be careful because it could be Google calling to say that they want to update your listing with your business account, or it could be a scammer posing as Google collecting credit card information in order to steal money or to build an identity for you. And one of the major challenges that small businesses face too is that they're a sole proprietor. And if the owner gives out their pertinent information, they can become a victim of identity theft, and then it just takes a long time to reclaim your identity. So businesses are risk, hackers know this, and so you really have to be cognizant about these data breaches that are going on, and you have to take the steps to make sure that make sure that your business is not going to be hacked by hackers. So what can you do? Let's move the roller and see. Oh, that's our intro slide, so now I need to know to roll towards me. So number one, passwords are the most important thing that you can do for your business. You need to have secured passwords for all of your online accounts, because everything that we do online requires a password. Doesn't matter if you're accessing bank information, doesn't matter if you're accessing email information, you've got to have secure passwords. Passwords are the number one defense that's keeping your information out of the hands of cyber criminals. So, number one, the best rule as far as passwords are concerned is make sure that your passwords are 8 characters or longer. You can create a combination of capital letters and numbers and special characters. One of the things that I recommend people to do rather than a password is to create a passphrase. So you create 2 items that create one singular password, and maybe add a special character or some numbers with that. So maybe you would create a phrase like angry giraffe, 2018 exclamation point. Or perhaps you would make one called skinky sock in 2019 exclamation point. But passphrases make it a lot easier for you to remember all of those complicated passwords that you have to deal with. But key combinations are really good, and that's the preferred method as far as passwords. You have 2 phrases that are close to you, and then you can add some digits to it, and it just makes passwords a lot easier to deal with. Another function that you could use as far as passwords are concerned is to download a password management software. Now, the way password management software works is that it allows you to put in all of your online accounts into one system. And when you log on to your smartphone or to your tablet, or even your laptop or desktop computer, your password management system will automatically log in using the complicated passwords that are keeping your online accounts safe and secure. One of the utilities or apps that I would recommend would be LastPass. LastPass is free. and you can download it to just about any app out there. It doesn't matter if you have a Windows computer, Macintosh, smartphone, or tablet, LastPass is available, and you create a master account with a strong username and a password, obviously, but you want to make, you can keep a track of all of those online accounts for your business within LastPass. Another tool that you could use is called Dashlane. It's another password management system that's free that works like LastPass that will allow you to keep track of all those complicated passwords, and it will allow you to log on to all of your devices without having to remember what each individual password is. But the other thing that you want to make sure you want to do with passwords is you don't want to use the same password for all of your online accounts. Hackers count on this. So they start small. They'll log in or figure out the password to your Facebook account, and then they'll figure out other accounts that may have that email or password combination. And then they may graduate to financial or credit cards accounts and even your banking accounts. And if you're using the same passwords for all of your online accounts, it just makes it that much easier for hackers to log into your information. So you always want to use different passwords for all of your online accounts. And if you get confused with all of those different passwords out there, you can use LastPass in order to keep track of all of that information. But passwords are important. So if you do anything or learn anything out of this seminar tonight, make sure that you have different passwords for all of your online accounts, and make sure that you're using nice, strong passwords that don't have any affiliation of what you do. In this stage of social media, you want to stay away from passwords that use pets' names or children's names or anything that's personally related to you, even birthdays or things that you want to avoid as far as passwords are concerned. So passphrases are great. Password management system is what you want to use, and make sure that all of them are strong. Oops, I'm just getting crazy, aren't I? Number 2 is you want to make backups of all of your business information. And there's several ways that you can back up your information. Most people are used to just using a flash drive. I think I got one in my pocket, or maybe not. But flash drives are good. Let's see, do I have one? So yeah, flash drives are great, but the challenge is that flash drives don't store information for a period of time, or a long period of time. You can have a finite or a limited amount of read writes to a flash drive, so you don't want to turn that into a backup system. What's going on my phone?
It just says it's low battery.
Of course,
It'll keep it alive.
I know, yeah. But with the backup system, you don't want to use a flash drive. You would want to use an external hard drive on your computer to make sure that all of your business information is safe. And the fortunate thing is Windows and Macintosh computers have backup systems built into it. If you have a Windows computer, you can use File Manager, which is a file backup system that will allow you to back up your information all the time. File history keeps track of multiple backups, so that if something catastrophic happens, you can restore your files from a previous backup. Now, if you've got a Macintosh computer, you can use Time Machine. And Time Machine works like Windows File History, where it'll automatically back up your information to an external hard drive, and you don't have to worry about those files that are going to be lost, because Time Machine will just keep multiple backups. And it's a little bit more advanced than the Windows backup, because you can actually use Time Machine to restore the files from your old Macintosh computer to a new Macintosh computer, and all of your settings and all of that information will make it over. Now, if you've got a smartphone or tablet, unfortunately, there is no backup system built into it, so you have to utilize the tools based on which smartphone or tablet you are or have. So if you have an iPhone or are using Apple products, you pretty much have to succumb to using the iCloud backup system. They give you 5 gigabytes of storage for free, Apple does, but then after that, they charge you 99 cents to upgrade for more storage. And if you have some important business information on a smartphone from Apple or iPad from Apple, it's highly recommended that you go ahead and just pay the 99 cents to back up the information to Apple. Now, if you have an Android device or a Google device like a Samsung or an LG smartphone or tablet, then you can utilize the services of Google Drive. And Google Drive is included with all Android devices. And You only get a small amount of space, 5 gigabytes is what they give you. But like Apple, you can pay additional money to have that information backed up from your smartphone to the cloud, so that way any data, any photos that you have aren't compromised and are safe in the cloud, just in case something happens like a virus or malware occurs to your smartphone. Now there's another way that you can back up your information, and that's to the cloud. So for your smartphones, that information is already being backed up to the cloud. But obviously most businesses are using either Windows or Macintosh computers. So Carbonite would be the cloud solution that would allow you to automatically back up that information from your computer to the cloud. And the reason that I highly recommend cloud backup for small businesses or even solo businesses is that if you get ransomware, it can affect all of the files on your computer and on your cloud-based storage accounts such as Dropbox, OneDrive, and iCloud. You have a question?
No, I was going to ask you about Dropbox later.
What about Dropbox? You can ask me now.
I was going to ask you if that would be sufficient to pick up, but you just covered that, so no.
Yeah, no, it's good to store stuff. So like if you have multiple computers or you wanted to access stuff on your smartphone, then yeah, Dropbox is great for that. But if you get hit with ransomware, then it will destroy the files on your computer, and it will go to Dropbox and destroy all the files as well. So you would have to use a cloud backup system such as Carbonite or Backblaze, which the difference between, say, Carbonite and Dropbox is that Carbonite, the backup system, they keep multiple backups of your files. So they can get infected with ransomware, but Carbonite's got like a month's worth of backups stored on their computer. So if you get hit, you can just call up Carbonite or Backblaze and say, hey, I've been hit with ransomware. And they can look on their systems and say, oh yeah, we can see when the infection came in, and we'll restore your files back to the way they were before they got destroyed with ransomware. But Carbonite and Backblaze are fairly inexpensive. I know Carbonite's probably one of the better utilities because for it's $70 a year for unlimited backup. So it doesn't matter how much information that you have stored on your Windows or Macintosh computer, Carbonite will back up all of that information and then store it safely in the cloud. So if something catastrophic happens, then Carbonite will keep your business files protected. And the big threat now with ransomware, hackers realize that they can get more money if they hold your files for ransom as opposed to just putting some virus on there where if you just restored Windows, you would be back in business. With ransomware, they have your files hostage, so you're more apt to pay up, especially when you get the warning sign on the computer that says your files have been destroyed, pay us this ransom, and we'll give you your files back. In most cases, they won't give you the files back, but if you do run into a situation where you or someone in your office accidentally infects your files, then you can just say, sorry, I've got my files safely backed up, and then just restore it from Carbonite and not have to worry about it. But out of all the cloud backup systems out there, both Backblaze and Carbonite offer good tech support. They offer multiple backups, so it's a good tool for both home and business users to go with. And your files are safely encrypted, because I know people worry about, well, what if my business files, what if I have them in the cloud? Well, with Carbonite, all those files are encrypted or locked up, so even if a hacker were to break into Carbonite's system, they would see that maybe you have an account, but they would not be able to access any of your precious business data. So it's totally safe. But you've got to back up because ransomware is a big threat, but also just regular computer failure. If something catastrophic happens to your device, you want to make sure that all your information is safe. So back up. So number 3, if we can get the roller to move smoothly. There we go. So yeah, protect your computers, networks, and information from cyber attacks. Antivirus software. Well, the key is education, because honestly, there's not that many viruses that are floating around the internet. Most people that get infected with viruses infect themselves. They've clicked on a link that they shouldn't have clicked on. They've gotten curious about an email that's come through, and they visit a website. Sometimes you can get infected by just typing in the name of a website wrong, and hackers have sites designed specifically to get you or to hold your computer ransom once you visit the wrong spelling of a domain. So let's say you put too many O's in Google, it'll take you to a bogus site that a hacker has purchased, and then next thing you know, you've got an alert on your computer or your device saying, hey, your device is infected. Pay us some money or call this number and you can get your device freed up and we can give you some tech support. Those messages are bogus. It's just bogus tech support companies just trying to make money. So education is the key. If you get an email and you don't know what's in it, just delete it. If you're curious, call the person where you think the email came from and ask them, did they send you the email? And then you can confirm that the email was actually sent. I know some people will get frustrated because they will have a friend or a colleague send them an attachment and you don't have the program that will open the attachment. So people start digging in and they get into problems because they go where they're not supposed to go on the internet. So always keep safe, make sure that you're visiting secure sites, make sure that you're not clicking on strange links and emails that will infect your computer. As far as your networks are concerned in your business or your home business, if you have a wireless network, probably one of the best things to do is to make sure that your wireless name is invisible. That is called the SSID, and it's the identifier that lets people know that there's a Wi-Fi signal in this area. If you've got a password on your Wi-Fi, the chances are slim to none that someone's going to actually hack into your wireless network. But if it's invisible, where you can hand it out to both friends and family, then that just keeps you more safe because you don't have hackers looking for your wireless name. If you do have a wireless network in your business and you're not concerned about the wireless name being out and about, it may be a good option to have a wireless router that allows guest network access. That way you don't have people logging into your business network and looking at your business file. If you have a guest network, it sets up a completely different network that allows people to access the internet because that's all they're wanting to do. But it also keeps your business information safe. And I know usually if you want a guest network, you would have to purchase an additional router from like Office Depot or Best Buy. If you have a router from say Comcast or CenturyLink, normally they don't have the guest network set in. So that's something to consider if you're wanting to share your network. You never want to share your business wireless network with just any random stranger that comes in, especially if you have Wi-Fi in your home. Because you never know who's savvy enough to find your business information. So you always want to keep your wireless networks separate. Now, as far as antivirus software is concerned, a lot of people laugh because there's different programs out there. There's Kaspersky, there's Nod32, there's Norton. I can't think of another one. McAfee, yeah. Those programs are good, but sometimes they're overkill. In Windows computers, Windows Defender is the built-in antivirus, and it's free, that you can use to protect your computers from threats. And that's my recommendation as far as what you can do to protect your Windows computer. Just make sure Windows Defender is up to date, and make sure that you do a scan on the occasional basis. But your antivirus in a Windows computer is going to constantly monitor any threats that come in. So if you're on the internet and you go to a website that's questionable, Windows Defender will pop up and tell you not to go to the website. Even email, if you're sending and receiving email, it'll scan email that's coming in and let you know that maybe you shouldn't open that email. Same thing with flash drives. If you stick a flash drive in your computer, Windows Defender will pop up and say, hey, don't do that. Now, as far as Macintosh computers are concerned, Macs get viruses, but it's so few and far between that you could kind of go commando and not really load antivirus software on your Macintosh computer. It's all about surfing safely on the internet that's going to make the difference. So if you were a Mac user and you felt confident that you knew where to go, you could go without any antivirus. But if you needed something because you're Curious George and you just click on any link out there, you might want to download Nod32 for the Macintosh computer, just to make sure that you've got something of a buffer to make sure that if you click on a link that it'll pop up and let you know that you maybe accessing a file that's virus related. Flash drives are a problem in your network for business or for a home business. Make sure that you're not letting anyone just stick their flash drive in their computer, right? Well, you can trust me. I mean, I know my flash drive is in the computer, but it's safe. It doesn't have any viruses. So. But Windows Defender would have popped up and said something if that had been the case. But you just need to get cognizant about all the cyber threats that are out there, and just make sure that you're doing safe stuff. The best thing to do as far as internet searches are concerned, stay with your mainstream sites, your Amazons, your Facebooks, your Twitters, any site that's designed by a larger company. Your chances of getting infected are slim to none because they have a team of people that are scanning for viruses to make sure that you're safe. Smaller websites, unfortunately for some small businesses, you never know who the host is, so you really have to be careful, especially if it's a business and they just have a janky looking website. It's a good possibility you could pick up a virus from it. But most modern web browsers, and I guess that's something else I need to talk about, have the tools built into it that will alert you and let you know that the website is dangerous and that you don't want to go to it. Browsers like Firefox and Chrome will actually have tools built into them, so it doesn't matter if you're surfing on your smartphone or on your computer or your tablet. If you're using a nice secure browser like Firefox or Chrome, it'll actually pop up and let you know when you visit a bogus website. So update your browsers, update your software on your computer, and just make sure that you're running current stuff. If you're a Windows user, you probably need to be using Windows 10. I know it's 3 years old, but there are some businesses out there that are still using Windows 7, and Windows 7 is starting to come to a close, and Microsoft is not supporting it, which means you won't be getting your security update. So you want to make sure that you're using the most important version of Windows. Same thing with Macintosh computers. The most current version of Mac OS is High Sierra. And kind of the bad thing about Apple is once a new version of their software comes out, they don't support the old stuff at all. And I know there's customers that we have that have older versions of Macintosh operating systems because Mac is not really adamant as far as making sure that you have updates on your computer. So High Sierra for Macs. For iPhones, I think it's iOS 11, and for Android, it's not Marshmallow. But yeah, make sure you've got the latest version of Android on your phone as well to make sure that you can avoid these cyber threats. Because if you've got old software, cyber criminals have designed software to look for that old stuff and look for the breaches, and it will get in and infect your stuff. So mobile device action plan, we all carry our smart devices. And so password protect them, especially if you've got business information on there, even as an individual, because there's so many of us that use our smartphones to get on with online banking. We've got pertinent business information in there. Your smartphone can be a gateway to many things. Business files, Dropbox, you name it. You probably have it on your smartphone, even your Google Drive or OneDrive account. So one of the things that you want to do as far as a mobile device action plan is make sure that your mobile device is password protected. Because if you password protect your smartphone, it'll encrypt the data on your device. So that if you lose it and someone gets a hold of it, it won't be able to get into it with the password on it because it automatically encrypts that information. Same thing with tablets and smartphones. You want to, especially as a business, you want to encrypt or scramble the information on the hard drive of those devices. If you have a Windows 10 professional computer, you can download BitLocker, which is their encryption tool, which will lock up all the files on your laptop. So if you lose your laptop, then no one will be able to get into the files. If having a password on a laptop is not secure enough, because anyone who's somewhat savvy can get past a laptop password on a Windows or a Macintosh device, and then they've got access to your data. Another thing, if someone really wants the data on your laptop, is that they can take apart your device, your laptop, and take the hard drive out and just hook it up to another computer. Then they've got access to your precious data. But if you encrypt it with, say, BitLocker for Windows computer, And then FileLocker for Macintosh computers, even if they take the hard drive out of the computer, they'll never be able to see the information on that hard drive because they would need the encryption key in order to break in there. And if a hacker did spend the time to try to decrypt a hard drive, you're probably looking about 30,000 years before they could get to that information. So if you're doing business stuff, running around with your laptop, you definitely want to encrypt both your smartphones by just simply putting a password on it, or encrypting your hard drives by installing BitLocker or FileLocker for Macintosh computers. When you're out and about using Wi-Fi networks, and I think I talk about this maybe later on the slide, make sure that you're careful which Wi-Fi networks you connect to, both with your smartphones and with your laptop computers. The best thing to use when you're mobile is to have a Wi-Fi hotspot from your cellular provider. I know Verizon carries the Jetpacks, and the reason why your cellular Jetpack or hotspot is secure because you just have a single point of connection between your hotspot and your cell company. So no one else is on that signal, just you are. But the good thing about hotspots is that you can have multiple computers sharing a mobile hotspot, and you're just sharing that one connection. But it's probably the best way to make sure that your information is safe and secure and no one's accessing it online. If you didn't want to spend the additional money for a hotspot, you could get a VPN when you're using the local Wi-Fi at Starbucks or McDonald's. A VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. And the way a VPN works is it pretty much masks your connection when you're on the internet. So if you're at a coffee shop, people can see that you're connected, but they won't be able to see the data that's going back and forth between your device. And one of the best tools as far as a VPN out there is called TunnelBear. Just like it sounds, a bear tunneling. But TunnelBear creates a barrier that doesn't allow hackers to see your pertinent information. And it's a monthly charge for a service like TunnelBear, and it'll work on any device out there. But with the VPN, and if you travel a lot in your business, you do have the peace of mind of knowing that no one will be able to see what information that you're transmitting across the internet. And of course, when you're out and about with your mobile device, you want to make sure that you keep your eyes on your device. So if you have to go to the restroom, if you're at a coffee shop, or if you have to run out to the car and get something, make sure that you fold up your device and take it with you, because mobile devices are highly sought out items, and criminals, or even if they can't get your data, you don't want to be in a position where you lose your device and then of course you lose your data. And part of that mobile action plan too should be backing up your stuff automatically. So for an external hard drive and a laptop, that plan may not work as well because you would have to take that external hard drive and plug it in to make sure that was going to back up. If you're using a cloud-based backup systems like Backblaze or Carbonite, then you know that that information is being backed up every time you connect to the internet. So you have the peace of mind knowing that if your device disappears, then all your information is safe and secure in the cloud, so you can file a claim with your insurance company, or you can just go out and buy a new device, knowing that you could just transfer the information from your cloud account down to your computer. I mean, I guess you could do the same if you had a Dropbox account or a OneDrive account, but the problem is with those online storage accounts, not everyone stores all their information with Dropbox or OneDrive. So you may have some of your information, but you won't have access to all of your information. But that mobile action plan also applies to your smartphone and tablets too. You need to make sure that you have some type of cloud backup system in place as well. Even if you're using, because the problem with like tablets and smartphones is that people drop them. And sometimes they get damaged to the point where it can't be repaired. Or if you drop it in the toilet or it gets wet, you can't repair that device, so your data is lost. There's, I know there's people out there that see the CSIs or all of the sci-fi shows where they can hook their device into a computer and read the data. It doesn't work that way in real life. So you really have to make sure that you're backing up your information on a regular basis. But just common sense as far as security is concerned with mobile devices is the best school of thought as far as keeping safe from criminals. So number 5, employ the best practices on your payment cards. So if you're a business, probably one of the things that you want to do rather than using a debit card in your business is to use a credit card. If your business becomes a victim of a cybercrime with your credit card, it's much easier to get that information from a credit card than it is a debit card. Debit cards are handy because obviously that money's coming out of your account. With a credit card, you have the pain of remembering to try to pay off that balance every month. But for the sake of the business, it's best just to go ahead and use a credit card because cybercrime's out there. You never know when you make a business purchase at a restaurant or at a store if someone's going to get a hold of that card and spend your limit or start using it to make illegal purchases. So when you call your credit card company, it's easier to restore that data. Debit card, you may get it back, but it's going to take a lot longer. And if you're on a shoestring budget as far as a business is concerned, that could be the difference between life and death. The other thing that you want to do with your credit cards and with your bank account is to set up two-step authentication with your bank account. If your bank doesn't have it, it's probably time to find another bank. But the way two-step authentication works is that if any purchase is made or someone tries to access your account and it's not you, there's 2 steps that they have to take in order to access your online account. Maybe they have to provide a passphrase like your mother's maiden name or the name of your first pet. But even after they get that information, it sends a verification code to your smartphone or tablet saying, hey, are you trying to access your account? Click here if you want to verify that someone's accessing this account. And that's the way two-step authentication works with credit cards and with, say, your online and email accounts too. And you need to enable it because there's all sorts of scams out there related to credit cards. You've got the credit card swipe scam with the gas pumps. You never know if you go to a pump, if you swipe it, if it's a scammer. Online shopping, you may find something that's nifty for your business, or you need a utility for your business and you have to buy from a website that may or may not be reputable, and if you purchase there, then someone's got your information. And then of course now you've got the data breaches with the larger companies out there too, and you never know who's next. I know the most recent breaches are both Cheddar's, and obviously you may have gone there for a business lunch, but now your information's out there. And then the other company, oh gosh, I forget. I just posted about it. But anyway, you never know which large business is going to get hacked. So having a credit card is a lot better system to use as opposed to using a debit card in your business. And make sure that you set up two-step authentication. Tip number 6, you got to stop using free email for your business. Have to. I know it's tempting for a lot of businesses, especially if they're on a shoestring budget, to utilize a Yahoo or a Gmail account, and it just doesn't work well. Those free online accounts are targets of hackers because hackers realize that there's tons of subscribers to those free email accounts. So if you have a Gmail account or Yahoo or even an AOL account, it could spell bad news for you because if a hacker puts out a bogus email with those email addresses, it's easy to spread throughout the whole Gmail line that there's this bogus email out there. And of course, if it comes from a trusted source, you may click on it and put yourself in danger as far as getting your information hacked. For businesses, it's pretty inexpensive for you to go out and purchase a domain name from your business like GoDaddy. If you're a solopreneur, you can go out and purchase a domain for yourself. That way, you put your business at less risk of being hacked. And also it makes you a little bit more professional too. I mean, it's kind of common knowledge that businesses will use Gmail, but as far as branding purpose is concerned, if you have a domain name like a .com or a .net or .org, it just makes your business look more professional. And hackers are target the free email accounts because of the abundance of users as opposed to yourname.com or your name or yourbiz.org or .biz, because they figured, well, there's millions of users that are on Yahoo or Gmail. But if I go to mysmallshop.com, they're thinking, well, there's probably not going to be that many people that we can exploit. So we'll avoid the smaller domains. Now, they may go after, say, an Amazon, obviously, because of all the users associated, or with Airbnb or Panera or any of the larger companies, because the access to those, the information that's associated with those domains. But for your small mom and pop or a solo business, they're probably not going to target you because they realize there's probably the chance of getting information from this individual is not going to be very big. So, and finally, train you and your employees in the best security practices. So you have to make sure that you understand what cyber threats are going on in the world. I know with social media, there's all sorts of scams that are going on. I know the big one on Facebook was the JBK Smith. Don't friend this person because if you friend them, then you will be infected. And I think that came out earlier this year, but then there's still people still sharing that stuff on the internet. And so it just kind of puts a little paranoia about you as far as utilizing social media or utilizing the tools that you need to run your business. So you have to really sit down and figure out what are the best practices that we're going to use in our business. So if you have employees or even with yourself, one of the things I talked about earlier is that you don't want to utilize anyone's flash drive. So if someone gives you a flash drive with information on it, you want to be reluctant to put that into your computer because you never know where that flash drive's been. Now obviously if it came out of the box of like Office Depot or Best Buy, that's safe. But if someone just hands you a flash drive and says, hey, let me stick this in your computer, you probably don't want to do it. You want to, as a business, you want to keep track of all of the scams that are going around on the internet. There's all sorts of email scams that are going around, and you want to kind of be conscious about the time of year so that you understand what scams are going to be more pertinent. So obviously during tax season, you're going to see more letters from the IRS saying that you owe money or there's a problem with your account. And obviously during the holidays, you're going to see more of the packaging or online sales companies that are saying that you're going to have hackers using bogus emails from. So you'll get emails from Amazon saying that there's a delay on your package. So you may be tempted to click on that link. You'll get emails from your shipping companies like your UPSs and your FedExes saying that there's been a problem with your package. So you have to be aware of those scams and make sure that you're prepared for them, especially now since we're starting to head into the holiday season. So more people are going to be shopping online, so you're going to see more of those scams going around. If there's a natural disaster going around, there's the scams that you get with that, with all the charitable organizations asking for money. So you really have to pay attention to the news to find out what's going on, to make sure that you don't fall victim to the scam. And right now, the big scam is the robocall. Robocalls have increased tenfold over the past several months. So if you have a standard business line, you may receive more robocalls. If you're advertising your cell phone number as your business number, you may see an increase in robocalls too. And the bad thing about many cell phone numbers is sometimes those numbers are spoofed, meaning that a hacker will find your number based on the search on the internet. And so they'll take your cell phone number and try to scam people locally because you have a 913 or an 816 prefix in your number. And so with a local number, you can lure more people into answering the phone. So if you can help it with your business, it's always a good idea to kind of keep your cell phone private and use voice over IP systems such as Google Voice, or even signing up for Vonage for your business, because those numbers are less apt to get hacked or taken advantage of as opposed to like a cell phone number. And the problem with a business and a cell phone number is that once your business number is out there and it's considered like a quote bad number, you really won't be able to function in your business. So you want to keep your cell phone's number secret and utilize like a voice over IP number, like say a Google Voice or anything like that. But making sure that you've got the latest antivirus software on your computer, making sure that people that work for you, even contractors, know what things they should or shouldn't do. You've got employees, you've got to have that sit-down session with your employees to make sure that they're not clicking on stuff that they shouldn't be clicking on, that they're not wasting time on social media, or even downloading games onto your work computers. If you contract with somebody and you're sharing files or even sharing information, you want to make sure that they're a little cyber savvy too, because their systems may get hacked into and it obviously could affect your system. So there's a lot more that we could talk about as far as cybersecurity. I mean, there's tons of information, but those are some of the 7 things that most businesses should stay on top of just to make sure that they're safe and secure. So, anyone have any questions or anything? Okay.
Well, going back to the, not a free service email.
Right, like Gmail? Yeah.
So, we have a G Suite. So
Now that's different because you're paying for it.
okay, so I'm saying,
Yeah, G Suite is safe because even though you go to google.com to log into your information, you're still paying for Google services.
okay,
So if you ran into a problem with your G Suite account, you can pick up the phone and call Google, and then they would assist you on anything that is going on with your account. But if you just have a regular Gmail account with no support, it just opens you up to just hackers, and then if you run into problems with your email account, there's no one to call. But with G Suite, are you using it with the @google.com, or does it have like or do you have like your company name.com or?
yeah, so like our website is growgrainvalley.org.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that is so through my G Suite, it says info@growgrainvalley.org.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So you're paying for it, and you have a domain name. So if a hacker saw Grow Grain Valley, they may like get on the internet and say, "Oh, wow, what's the population of Grain Valley, or what's the size of this organization?" So if you have it set up where it's just like an info or like info or contact@growgrainvalley.org, they're probably not going to try to attack the organization. School districts sometimes run into problems with that because even though they have like the .edu, then you've got a listing of all the faculty on the website, so it makes it a nice, juicy apple for a hacker to get into. Because they're like, oh yeah, we've done our research. This town's fairly large. They have a fairly large faculty, so let's attack this business. But smaller businesses, if there's like only one address, and hackers do their research and find out that they're not going to get access to a lot of resources, then they'll probably just leave it alone. So yeah, you're safe. Yeah, even if you had a Yahoo account and you were paying for it, and it had the domain with it, then you would be secure as well.
Okay.
But the big thing right now for businesses as far as cybersecurity is the mobile computing, making sure that you're not connecting to just any hotspot. Now, I think going to Starbucks or McDonald's, is probably pretty safe because, especially in this town, there's the chances that someone's just hanging out at McDonald's just to steal information is not going to happen because there's not a large concentration of business users that congregate to McDonald's to do stuff. Same thing with Starbucks. Their whole business model is not about people camping out and using the internet. It's more about people getting their coffee and going. They provide Wi-Fi, but again, it's not that you have a large concentration of people sitting at Starbucks utilizing Wi-Fi. Now, if you travel and go to larger cities, like to larger airports or larger coffee shops, then that obviously becomes a problem. But if you go into an area you're not familiar with the coffee shop, then you need to take precautions to make sure that you're protected. One of the tools that I forgot to mention, there's a web browser called Opera, and it has VPN or virtual private network software built into it, and it's available for all smart devices and Windows and Macintosh computers. So if you were just checking your email and just surfing on social media, you could download Opera to surf the web with Opera. Just turn on the VPN feature, and any transaction that you do on the internet, Opera will keep safe. Now, the difference between Opera, the browser, as opposed to TunnelBear downloading software, which is a VPN, if you're doing multiple functions like transferring files from one location to another with your laptop, that would be where TunnelBear would come in. But if you're doing all internet-based information, like you're checking your financial accounts, if you're on social media, if you're checking a web-based email, then you could get by just downloading Opera, which is free just to make sure that your information is safe and secure.
Opera is free.
Opera is free.
It works on Android.
Yeah, you can download it for Android. Yeah, you just go to the Android store and just download Opera.
So basically, you're searching through Opera.
Exactly. Yes, I mean, because Chrome doesn't have a VPN built into it, neither does Firefox. And the challenge, and Safari, believe it or not, if you have an Apple device, it doesn't have a VPN in it, but it's a secure browser. But it's not as robust as, say, Opera or Firefox. You could go to specific sites with Safari, and they may not work. The website may not work the way that it's supposed to. But Opera is pretty well supported, so you can definitely go to Opera and just download it and just surf. If you're going to be out and about, just keep it as a backup browser. And I always recommend if you're mobile, that you download multiple browsers. Browsers don't take up that much room on your computer, so it's not a bad idea to have Chrome and Firefox and Opera installed on your smart devices or on your computer, because you never know what type of situation you'll run into where a website may not work because you're logged into someone's network, or if your browser crashes when you're out and about, you want to be able to have a backup to go to in order to be able to surf the internet. Hopefully that was informative.
You said if you password protector Android, it automatically encrypts it.
Yeah, it does. And it doesn't matter if you do the finger swipe or put in a 4 or 6-digit PIN number, it automatically encrypts it. So if you lose it, then you don't have to really worry about somebody getting your device and breaking into it and accessing the data that's on it. Because the problem with smartphones is that with most of our apps, the password's already logged into the app. So if you click on the app, then someone's got access to your cloud information, they've got access to your banking data, so you definitely always want to keep a password on any device. Even with computers, if you can't figure out how to encrypt the drive, it's always a good idea when you're mobile to put a password on your laptop, because hopefully it'll fall in the hands of someone that's not that savvy, and just having a password on your laptop will just deter them and say, well, I can't get into it. I mean, it's a problem if you run into somebody who's tech savvy, but for someone who's not that savvy, which is most of the population, just having a password on it is a good idea.
Thank you.
You can take a breath now.
Yeah, I can take a breath.
Never seen anybody talk for an hour and not take a breath.
He's really good at it.
Thanks. Is it still going? Yeah, look at that. It's down to 10%.